And hello there, and this review is going to be a little bit different from my normal honest reviews because of this game right here, Archmage Rises. And yeah, that is because this game is still very early access, and honestly, you should not get it just yet. It is just, you know, it's 0.9 right now, and the game's functions don't really work too properly. I wouldn't have put my name on this game right now. That was a mistake, putting your name on here. There is a lot that he might be, happy about because it's really big, expansive worlds. But let's go over top of the options right here. Right now, you don't have an interface option. This does not work. There is nothing to do for settings on that. The basic graphic settings are, the bare minimum, basically. That's right, the bare minimum of graphic settings. That's okay. And then the options in this game are very limited. There's a whole bunch of options that should be here that aren't, would be standard for these type of games, but they're not. And let's go through some of the helpful tips that might help you, actually, if you're going to play this game and started it anyways, because, some of these games are very few and far between, and this one's big and expansive. This game here is not something you're going to play over the weekend. This is something you're going to play over months. It's that big, and it's that slow process going there. Screen shake, that's just, I never had that on. That is really bad. Show tutorial notes, that's an option, but the tutorial stuff is very easy and basic, and it will go away after the first time. This is a really helpful tutorial to actually have on there and do the setup, but you don't want that on there on multiple playthroughs, and you honestly, you probably don't need it if you are experienced in these games. It is just something you can or cannot do. I would recommend not having the roll of die 20s on the screen, because all your things that you do are going to be a roll of a die 20, and that die 20 pops on the screen and it rolls. It's very slow, and of course it's the basic RNG coding rules, which means it's not really truly random at all, or not even close, and that just takes a little bit extra time. So let's get started on here on some of the other things. That's basically all the options. Let's take a look at this game right here. Now this is a randomly generated map, and it's also very, you can't really see very far. You can see like one hex, sometimes two hexes in front of you. It's a hex-based game, and then you just move around the map and you go around and you have to explore every single thing. Now this game has a very limited, let's go over top of the other options there on how the worlds are, right? So this is a seed-based game. This game has like a whole bunch of seeds going for it, a big huge number that was going on in the seeds. You could randomly generate your world, and now all this world is, besides being big and expansive, everything randomly generated on where it is, it's going to have the added effects of the people and how the relationships, and you grow old and you got to get married and you got to have kids. You have to have multiple marriage partners if you want, or you do stuff like betrayal on them. That's all more stuff that's not really too much involved yet in this game. It's not really defined on how you can really get that stuff done and do it. That's more of a longer playthrough to do. I've been playing it for quite a while right now to get into it, because it's an okay game. I can't really rate this game. Maybe like a 4 or a 5 or a 6. I don't know. It's just too early. That's why I recommend you not getting it right now. It's just a little bit too early, I would say. I would wait for some more updates and fixing some of this stuff, because honestly, the load screen on this here game, it took like 3 minutes to load the game up. This game doesn't do a save and a load feature. It's like a save and an exit or a save feature. If you hit the save button, it literally just sits there and does nothing for the first 30 seconds, and then the saving game option thing will pop up, and it takes like 2 minutes to actually save your game. That is why I wouldn't put my name on this game if something like that works. And if you click the button again because you think nothing happened, the game will actually say, hey, this game is not responding, and then you have to basically choose and say wait for the game to respond, because it will work again. So it doesn't actually crash, but the computer thinks the game is crashing. So yeah, that's just something that's going on right now for the stuff right there. That's like some of the basic stuff right here. But yeah, as you can see, I have some stuff. You can mark off some of the things on your map. You can edit notes, which you're really going to have to do on this playthrough. But let's get started on your character creation stuff. So your character creation, you're going to start with randomized questions on this game, and the questions themselves are going to be randomized. So truly, if you start a new character guy, it's going to be different questions, which will have different options. It's not going to be the same thing going through it twice, and that's important because this game is supposed to be about magic and all your different spells. And these are your 5 schools of spells. And what's really important if you're going to be starting this game is having access to, having experience in all of these schools of spells. These things only cost like 100 to 200 to learn each, and your first question in this game is going to give you like a 500 experience in one of these things, which means you could learn over half the spells in that school for that one question. But if you have no experience in these schools, the only choice you have is finding a random book and spending like 12 days reading it. That's how long it takes. Just you have to go there to a place in the town and read it for 12 days straight, which is not something you really want to do at the start of the game. And then getting experience in these schools of magic, you can get a maximum of 100 experience per fight. So that is capped. And it's based on, you cast your spells, you get like 20 experience randomly. Like it could be 1 cast, it could be 3 casts, it could be 4 casts of the same spell over and over again. So that's something you're going to have to keep track of yourself during the fight, because it won't tell you, it won't show you that at all. It might show you this in the big huge thing there, but yeah, this is like the log right here. Corpse is immune to undead. That should not be there. Of course, a skeleton corpse is immune to undead. What the hell is that there for the combat log? That's kind of silly. Let's go over these schools right here. Some of the most important spells you're going to have are shield spells in this game. So this is what the game is. It only has tier 3 for spells. You start off with these spells. That's it. It's a very low library for a game that's focused on that. You're an Archmage and you're supposed to be doing stuff. This is very limited, I would think. And the other schools like Fire, look, Fire only has tier 2. There's no tier 3 for Fire. And you're missing tier 3 for the other schools. Only the Arcane actually has tier 3, and that's for the spell magic. And everything else is just basically tier 2. So you're very limited on these spells. But these spells will have things like, shields. And all these shields are just a little bit different, because your attack rounds go by rounds, and you have attack points, and you have an aura points, which is basically magic, action points. So you have your action points, and you have your magic action points. And some of these spells cost more of the, spells, they cost more of the magic action points, and then they do action points. It's all back and forth. And also you can't even see what the spell does. Like you have them right here, and there's no information on the spells. It's not really that really intuitive. You can try it over here, and you can see on the actual shield, on this actual arcane spell, you can't really see the numbers on here. This is something that's very basic, and you really need to know what these numbers are, and you have to be in a fight to actually see them and actually cast them, and see how much they go up when you actually put more points into them. So when you cast your spells, you get more, and these numbers go up to actually give you permanent power for all your spells, and that's cool. But that's why I recommend, if you're going through here and you're starting your character, make sure you have all of these schools covered when you start the game. And if you don't, just quit the game and start again and do it again until you get everything, so you can actually have spells that you can cast, so you can learn them all. You're going to want to learn all the spells for these fights, because you're going to need to use them all. They all have a really good effect, like the ice shield, for example. You're going to want this one here. It's a really big, huge physical shield spell. It's the highest physical damage spell. And the way this combat works is you have your armor right down there. You have your regular armor and your magic armor, and so far most of these guys are basically just attacking with physical attacks, so that's going to be your most powerful shield. Of course, this one here, it doesn't tell you, but it takes 4 of your magic action points, and you only get 8 around, and you can save some to have an actual a full amount of 12 of each for your next rounds, basically. And then you can buff up your spells later on by using more of your magic action points, but it doesn't use your regular action points. But that helps buff them up and make them effective. And what will happen is your armor goes down lower and lower, and you only start with 10 of each. So when you start the game, you're really weak, and you only have 30 hit points, and there's no healing spells, there's no healing potions. And if your armor is gone, it goes off your health, and then you die really fast. Now, how fast you can die in this game is super fast if you run into a couple of archer skeletons or skeletons with spikes who attack 2 times around for 30 damage each. You get where I'm going with there. If I get a fight with 4 skeletons, pikemen, I can still die. And they're just basically the basic skeletons, because they do they can do up to 30 damage each per hit, and all 4 of them do their attack. Even with my I get my ice shield up there, that's not going to happen. So all these spells have also a range effect of going there. But let's go on to some of the other things right here. We can go back to the character stuff right here. You have basic stuff. I've never seen a neck or a rings yet like that. You have to buy these items in this game and that kind of stuff. And they're very expensive. You start off with 500 gold. And finding some of these things is very hard, and to buy something like a basic improvement is going to cost you like 2,000 or something like that, just to get one of these pieces of armor upgraded or added on there. You want some shoes, it might cost you 2,400 gold, and yeah, that's a lot of basic quests. Everything in this game is very expensive, and yeah, what else can we show you here? All your skills in this game, you get your questions give you a couple of points in some of these skills, and these skills go up by using them. So there's lots of searching and looking for stuff in this game. This game is very time oriented, and time goes by when you do everything in this game. And this is your action bar in the fight. It's not, I don't really like this type of action bar. You can do your melee combat and stuff like that. Do I got a fist on there? I got fist. Where's my weapon? What happened to my weapon over here? I should have a weapon on. I might have sold my weapon. No, it's my two-handed sword. Get on there. Yeah, there you go. Put that back on. I don't know why it was on there. I should not be even using this for an example of something. This says it needs a weapon skill of 15 to use it, and I obviously don't have that, and I have a 10. And I was sitting around, using these weak weapons that do 15 damage, and this thing just kills everything. But it's weird in the combat. But let's go on top of some of the other stuff of your things. As I was saying, your skills go up in this game, so it's nice. You use them, they get higher, and the higher, the better. The better your rolls, and everything's going to cost like that. You get the quests are on there, and they have. Some of them have time limits, some of them don't. Relationships, they're really big in this game. I hit the relationship button there, didn't I? Now we're getting a little bit of lag. Okay, we have a little crash going on here. Oh, there we go. No, that's not a crash. That is just a game. That is just a game. It did that thing. That was one of the options that might have popped up and said, hey, this game is crashing, but it just got there in time. So everybody has relationships. There's multiple levels to these things. Disapproved is up there. This guy likes me. This person likes me. And there is a lot. There's a ton of people in here, and this just got like really crazy from my last look at this thing right here. Because every person you talk to has this relationship thing. And it matters because, you get discounts in your stores and stuff like that, and it has all these different stats and all that kind of stuff. And that's my research. We've already seen that. So let's go over there and check out the town. So and the time stuff on this game, since it's very effective. We can go over top of some of the other things. You can buy pets in this game, which are basically horses and donkeys and stuff like that to carry some of your loads. Some of the other things that don't work. I have some elk, and they can be ground into pieces of meat, and I don't know how to do that. I click on them and nothing happens, type of thing. So I don't know what's going on there, but they can be used to stash some more loot and stuff like that. And you'd have multiple guys going on there. This costs a little bit of money and to maintain with your little minimal inventory spaces that you have in this game. So let's go over there and check out the towns. You have to go in there and enter the town, which is slow. You don't want that save a game thing on there, because that would have taken 30 seconds to a minute to get in there, because it would have been an auto save. But yeah, this is what your towns look like, and you have them on the side there, and you got to visit everybody. And everybody, might have a quest, they might not, and they all have people in them which have, the relationship that you can get better on them. So you want to go, maybe when you want to go to the inn, because you can't do very much. So you can see the time down here barely at 10 a.m. And if I want to flatter this guy, it's going to take an hour to flatter him. And I got my roll, because I have a really high personality. So I'm going to flatter him again. And you can only do this so many times. You can do 2 flatters. If you're lucky, the options might change, and that's it. He's done. If you talk to me enough, you can get your services. In this game here, this is the thing. You have to worry about your hunger, and you have to worry about your well-being. So you have to have stuff that helps both. And this is like the food options you have right here. 50 for your hunger for this cheap option, or you can go 90 and get some, plus 2 to it. And if you get negatives, some of the ratings on here are a little bit weird. It says negative 50, 100. It should say plus 50 to your hunger. I don't know why they said negative. It's misleading, because the well-being you want a plus on, and sometimes it says plus negative on there. So it has a double standard thing there. It says plus a negative on there for your stats. We don't have any on there it is right here. There's one here for the stable. You want to sleep in the stable? You get a, where is it? Where is the stable? There it is, right there. It says you get a plus -2 to your well-being. So yeah, that's a little bit misleading. That's a little bit sloppy. I don't recommend things like that. So you have to be aware of things like that. And this is going to be random what you're going to have in a town. You might not have a common room, which actually gives you a +1 to your well-being, and that's going to matter for your stats, stuff like that. Like I got a buff for having that on there. I got actually 20 stamina, and okay, that's gone now. I used to have that. I got a buff for talking to people. I get a +100% experience to my ice school experience. Is what's going on there. But you only have 100 stamina, and you can get that buffed up to 120. Your hit points don't go up. There's no level ups and stuff like that for your hit points that I know of, and I don't know how to get my hit points up. I've been playing it for a while now, obviously, and I still don't have that stuff. But even going into different towns, now it's 2 p.m. Let's go to what's the most. You want to buy and sell stuff on the market. You go over here and an hour. Oh, I actually didn't pass. Let's see, it's still 2 p.m. 3 p.m. So when you leave, okay, when you leave, the time goes by. So I can go back into the market. Time will be the same, but when I leave, I lose an hour of time. So that goes on there. And this is going to be random stuff. Like I don't know why the market has all these weapons and armors and stuff like that, and all your stuff that you've sold. Like I sold these things. You can buy them back in that certain town, and you can make a note if you really wanted to. And they have visitors to talk to. Lots of different randomized stuff in their towns going on there. But all this stuff happens, and you have to sleep at night because they're all closed at night. So yeah, that's some of the other thing. It's kind of like real life. They're closed. You have to wait till the morning or sleep if you don't need to. Now let's go into the other things in this game. I think I've covered most of the other basic starting stuff that you should be aware of in playing the game. Let's go into the combat and show you that to end this review, review and helpful guide if you're going to play this game. You want to see this game and see what it's like playing it and what you do. So there's random encounters on the map. Let's go there and just go to the random square right there represented. And all these squares take multiple times. 1 hour to that one, 2 hours for that one, and you're going over the mountain. Sometimes it'll take like 12 hours to go there. There's even cold damage going on there. Some of them are too cold, and you'll drain your stamina type of a thing. And stamina is a bitch thing to worry about. So okay, there's nothing here, no footprints. What you're gonna find is a lot of footprints going through some of these places. I don't know why there is none here. But we can just keep walking around until we find no footprints. Okay, maybe we should just end it. And there we got the insight discovered. See, I was walking around and these guys came to discover me. I got my athletic skill up, and now I can success. Yeah, they almost surprised me. And the spiders approached and they run away. Oh, that's weird. I want to fight them. Still, now that we got unidentified tracks, you're going to want to do this all the time. Like my score is already up to 35. It starts really low. Some of them are really easy. Some of them are like 40 for difficulty. And you roll die 20 is what you're rolling. And it tells you where they go. The wolf tracks are to the north. You can see them right there at least. It shows you there in the combat log. And a success. There we go. I rolled a 10. On my 35 skill. That's the way the game works, and this gives you a little bit more experience in that. And as you can see, some of them are very difficult, 40, 45. So when you roll die 20, you're going to have to get that skill up if you actually want to follow them to their lair. But we have a lair right there. They didn't want to fight me, and they ran away. So there's the thing right here. And some of these things you have to search. And searching a hex will take like 20 hours of time. And sometimes they'll have objects here to actually farm. So you can farm, you can mine. There's lots of different ores and gems, and there's basic wood and wood and flowers and all that kind of stuff you can farm. But this is the old school dungeon style, which doesn't really do very much. You can move and look around. You can't look behind you. I don't know why. He just made it so simple. It's just basically a room that you look forward in and you can't do anything. If you have to go backwards on your little mini map here, it will have a little arrow pointing down. That's it. The door could be trapped. You don't know. But this is what the dungeons are. You just click on the door. You go to the room. Okay, there's no light. I've got a light spell instead of carrying torches around. It's nice to have that. And so you walk around. It's still doing old text from before. So you can look in here, and that's why I say have the Alt button going so you can see what's going on. And red is trapped, and those things really don't do nothing. So just go to the next door. There we go. We can show you combat. Now this is always another thing that's misleading. This says ambush, but the goblins are starting by your entrance. I'm ambushing them. Sometimes it's ambush, and they are ambushing me. But that doesn't really matter. You still get to go first in all your actions on these fights. You still get time to go. It just matters on your action points. It'll cut your action points in half type of a thing, but you'll still get your magic points and stuff like that. So all your spells in this game and your attacks will cost a different thing. Like this is really heavy damage two-handed sword, and it takes 3 action points to use to kill these guys. And you can see their stats. You can use your arcane insight on these guys to see all the resistances and their weight and stuff like that. The weight matters for the earthquake spell, because that's a fun spell to use to cheap out this game if they're going to be able to do it. So we have these little 4 goblins. They're all pretty weak. The wolves are, they're very weak. This is what you want. This is the fight that you want at the start of the game, is little weak guys like this. These guys are a little bit stronger and annoying. But yeah, let's go and check out some of the spells. So you normally when you start the game, you want to have your arcane shield for hit points and magic defense and that. But that's why I said just go to your ice shield. All to do is really ice shield. You can see here it costs 4 of your 8 of your magic power here, and it has a nice set value. I have it leveled up a little bit, so that's why it's 40, like 60 almost. But I can double this up. There's no other options to pick and choose. It's half or full basically. So I can put all 8 of my power in here and make a big shield, and then I need 12 to actually do that. So I don't have 12. You don't get 12 at the start, so you can't do that at the start and stuff like that. So all these different spells have functions like air pocket is good and for lowering the damage and all that kind of stuff for your basic spells, but they all have the different things on here, and most of these spells are basically physical damage. Like this one here costs does a roll of 3, so that's what you might probably want to do right there. Cast this and get the roll of 3 of these guys. Just boom, and then hit them all 3. Well, I got to cast it again because they didn't die, so let's try again. Got their armor off now. They're all dead. Now my action points are down to 2 and down to 4, so I could basically just there you go, I can just end my turn. But one of the tips you might want to do is actually make sure you have 100 experience in all of your in your fights. So even those little fights like this at the start of the game, you want to make sure you get your 100 experience up and running and ready to go. So like I'll show you this earthquake. So this dice, I can power it up to full, and it'll do like 40%, 41% of their weight in earth damage. Now this guy's stealth, so I can't really hit him anyways. Okay, I got him a little bit. And it also takes off their armor first and stuff like that. So now that's done. The other option you can do is use your focus, the rest of your action points, and turn it into your magic points. And it gives that 2 to, 1 point equals 2 of that, and then it's their turn to go. So I'll be full for my next spell. And that matters. Once you learn that skill, I think it's part of the main quest line. There isn't very much. Somebody taught me to actually, overpower my spells, basically. So now in the next round, you can do that again. So what I've been doing now for actual strategy is using this little frostbite spell and overcasting it, because it only uses 1 action point, and this will, the more aura you use, the more experience you're going to get. It starts off with 20, then it goes to 30, and then it goes to 40. So you want to get to 40, get that done out of the right. So I did that. I didn't get anything, and then you go to your melee weapon and attack it. And it's neat because this melee weapon says it takes 3 action points, but it takes 4 on this row and 5 on that row. And different weapons will have different things going on. Now I can't hit him, so I have to wait until my next turn. I'll just waste an action point and do that because he's stealth. These guys are annoying. They always attack and conceal. He didn't do anything because that frozen worked on him. He looks like he's still frozen for 5 more turns. That's why you overpower that spell for the fun. Is conceal wore off, and then you just do it again because you want the experience. And I got 12, so yeah, just do it again. Did I get experience? No, it's not very nice on that experience front right there. Hit him again. There you go. I'll just toast him. I don't care too much. So yeah, I got a whole 20 experience. So that's not something you want to do in the combat. You get very little gold. As you can see, 30 gold doesn't cover your in expenses in this game. And then you have all this stuff like your combat log and all that kind of stuff. You can see what happened and things like that if they get affected by that. So that's what the combat's like, and this is what the dungeon crawling is like in this game. I think that's pretty much it for the basics you need to be aware of on this for getting started, and hopefully this will let you know if you want to actually play this game yet or wait. And I recommend just waiting because there's too much stuff that's like, the save game features is just really slow. It also, just a note, it makes a new save game every time you hit save the game, so you have to go in there and delete some of your old saves every time you go in and back and forth through this stuff. And then you got to this is the dungeon crawling. So this isn't one of those games that's going to take a lot of time searching around for stuff. What did I get for loot? I found the dungeon map, so now I got the whole map here. I can see the dungeon. They have multiple levels, and there is a teleporter at the end of them to teleport you out for your, to make it a little bit more convenient for you after you're done. And sometimes there's a treasure chest, and even some of these dungeons don't even work properly too, by the way. Some of them have doors that you just can't open. It says there's a switch to open them, and there's no switches you can pull to actually open them. They're all trapped, and then when you break all the traps throughout the dungeon and pull the switches, they say, oh, they don't do nothing. That's just for a trap. You waste all your stamina doing that, because everything you do costs stamina. Like if you want to cast your arcane insight, it's going to cost me stamina. So it's going to cost me 5 stamina to cast it. It doesn't matter about that power. Did it actually increase my duration? 1 hour? Nope, it didn't help me at all. It doesn't do anything. That was just a waste of a thing to do. Goblins leap to attack. So that's what this game is like. Just be wary. The skeletons are the only real problem in this game. This guy will debuff you because he's a mage, but you can see he's got magic defense. And now let's go over the magic attacks. There's only, out of all your spells, you're supposed to be magic. Magic missile is not a magic attack. It is physical damage, and it's also blocked by objects. I can't cast my magic missile on a square over there. I can't cast my fireball, for example, on the square up there, and this will hit you because it's on the first row, and this is square, right? This is the whole little plus sign thing. So if I cast it here, it's going to hit me. So that makes it useless. And this is one of your 2 magic spells. That's magic damage, and your lightning bolt is magic damage, and that is it out of all of your spells in here. Because you have magic missile, you have that daggerfall spell, you have that's force push. That's kind of neat. You have acid blast. That's the earthquake, and wall of stone is kind of useless, and your ice lance type of thing. So you have all these things right there. I can go with acid. It's still physical damage. The same thing. Uses more action points. And these guys all have shields type of thing. And this guy over there, he's resistant to magic, but he's weak. He's going to be weak to magic missiles. I can take him out. I can pump it up to 6. There you go. That might kill him. If I get high number, look at that. No, he got Murphy'd, or almost Murphy'd. He's got 3 hit points. So I have to deal with him again with a different spell. which takes less aura points. Magic Missile does that because it takes action points and then just 2. You know, it's different on these spells, and they all have different hex ranges, like 3 this way or 3 up and down or the plus. And then these guys will hit me and take my armor off. So that is the last part of the combat, I guess. It's just this is what this game is like. So I hope hopefully this was in depth enough for you to make a decision on whether you like this type of game or not. It's just going to be a lot of stuff to do in this, and a lot of relationship stuff later on, and worrying about your kids and things like that, which is going to take a hell of a long time because it's going to be years of stuff to do. But yeah, those years are going to go down by pretty fast when you have to search like every hex, like almost like, you know, I think about 1/3 of the hexes actually have stuff on there to actually learn, basically. I wonder if I can put this up to 4 and 5. Why not? Kill them all. See, that took off their armor. What's the other spell that does that? Is the Daggerfall spell? I can cast that, right? Here we go. Let's double it up. Oh, he's still alive. He got lucky. What's his hit points at? Okay, he didn't get murdered. We just wait him. These guys don't really do anything. He even misses. Haha. Okay, but yeah, let's finish it off. Just whack him with the sword. Good on that. Come on, a little bit faster. Yeah, I don't like the action bars over here, something like that. There you go. Got my 100 gold this time. Well, that's not bad. A little bit more guys, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.